and welcome. Here I want to provide you with a tutorial on how you can code your data inside the Microsoft Excel. So if you have collected your data using an online survey platform like the Google Form or SurveyMonkey or other platforms that exist, the next thing you need to do is to collect the responses after the data collection is completed and then begin to code your data. A lot of students have asked me, after collecting my data, how do I begin to code the data to enable me analyze the data? In this video, I'm going to demonstrate once more how you can code your data inside the Microsoft Excel before you now import it into the SPSS to begin your data analysis. Before I proceed in this video, let me first of all thank the people who have joined this channel also as members. Joining the channel will enable you to get access to exclusive videos that I provide specifically for my members. So I encourage you to join today to get access to these quality tutorials on data analysis that you might need. Okay, it's pretty easier to join. Check out some of my videos that are specifically meant for members, and then click join to join the channel, and then you have access to a couple of videos that I've made specifically for my members. All right, let me quickly take you to today's video. If you look here, you're going to see that I've got a couple of surveys ongoing. You can see I've got a couple of them, but let me just quickly use this one. And you can see this is a survey on teacher support and motivation for teaching career. Okay, this was a study already conducted some time ago. So if I want to pull down this data and then code it into the Microsoft Excel before importing it into the SPSS, I will simply click here and then it will load. So here you can see the responses from individuals who participated in this research. Now what I need to do is that I will go to File and then download into Microsoft Excel, and then it downloads. So here you can see these are the timeline, the time that they responded in 2022 when this data was collected. So you can simply clean up this part. I can simply say delete because I don't want that. If you look here, you can see that the participants are mostly from Zambia. This is data that were collected from Zambia. But you can see that here we have the academic level as we've got degree, university diploma, first year undergraduate, and so on and so forth. So let us assume that all of them are all undergraduate students. So I mean, we don't need this. But this is where I want you to pay attention from. Okay, from this point, begin to pay your attention. So here I've got two levels, that is male and female. So how do you code your data if you have this? You can decide to code female as 1 and then males as what? 2. Then you need to document this carefully, because when you move your data into SPSS, you need to instruct the SPSS what you coded this data with. Alternatively, you can code it directly into the SPSS, but if you want to code it here and then import into the SPSS, which I'm going to demonstrate for you today, then you can as well do that. So how do you do this? So now this is female, so it's going to be 1. This is male 2, female 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. This is 2. This is 1, 1, 1. This is 2, 2. This is 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Right? This is 1. Okay, this is 2. Let me also take you to this point, so you've gotten an idea of how the gender now looks, so you can code it downwards in your own study. So I have the Likert scale questionnaire, which is the teacher support questionnaire, and let me show you briefly what it looks like. So you can see here, this is the questionnaire on university lecturer support to their students. So I've got some variables because of time, so I don't want the video to be too lengthy, so I'm going to show you only for two variables. So the first one is self-exploration support variable, and this was measured using 6 item statements. Okay, then informational support was measured using 5 item statements. So it's pretty important to use little number of item statements to measure your research. It gives your research more reliability in the sense that when people begin to tick your questionnaire, when people begin to fill your questionnaire, remember that human attention span is pretty small. So if you have, for example, up to 15 to 20 item statements measuring self-exploration support variable, for example, one of your variables, maybe you have up to 15, 20. Some people used to have up to 20 item statements measuring one variable. That's pretty too large. So remember that by the time someone reads the first one and tick the second and tick the third and tick the fourth, the fifth, the sixth, by the time they get to the seventh, oh my God, this thing doesn't get finished. They will start ticking anyhow they want, they start ticking it. And that will really affect possibly the reliability of your instrument. So back to Microsoft Excel. So here, remember that when you code your data, like this is the first question my lecturer helped me to identify my strengths and weakness. So you can see that here. My lecturer helped me to identify my strengths and weakness during the teaching practice exercise, assuming that you've collected your data on a 5-point Likert scale. So that means it is 1 for strongly disagree to 5 strongly agree. So what do you code? So here is going to be 5 representing strongly agree. The next one is 4, which is agree. The next one is 5, strongly agree. So this is 4 and this is 5, 5, 5. This is 4, 4, 4. This is 5, 5, 5, 5. And this is what? 4, 4. Neutral. This is 3 points. This is 4, 4, 4. And this is also 5. This is 4, 4, 3 is going to be neutral, and this is also 4, strongly agree, then this is also 5. In order not to bore you, let me also demonstrate that again once more, and then I'll pause the video and code the data and then import it into the SPSS, right? Then I've got 5, this is 4, 4, this is also 5, 5, this is also 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 5, 5, 5, 5. 4, neutral is 3, strongly agree, that is 5, this is 4, this is 3, 4, 4, 4, 4, this is 5 and 5. All right, so I'm going to pause this video and then so it doesn't get bored coding it like this. So I'm going to now code it and then show you how you can import it into the SPSS. So now, having coded the data carefully, I didn't want to take too much time. This is actually longer than 45% responded, but I just had to clean up the other one just for the purpose of this tutorial. You can actually see that it's pretty looking good now. So everything has moved into numbers because SPSS understands numbers than words, English words, right? So, and when you are coding your data, please be very careful so that you don't wrongly add a response that is not what someone provided. If someone has said strongly agree, please ensure that you place strongly agree with 5. If the person has said agree, ensure it is 4. If the person has said neutral, make sure it is 3. If the person said disagree, make sure it is 2. And then strongly disagree, make sure you code 1. So let me move to SPSS here. So the SPSS is already open. Normally you must have already got your own SPSS installed into your laptop. Then here is file. You go to the file, you will see import. Okay, so when you go to import, you see there are several things you can actually import here. You can import the CSV data, also looks like Excel. You can also import text data. You can import normal Excel. You can import SAS, Stata, and so on and so forth. But in this case, we want to import data from Microsoft Excel. So I'm going to click on Excel. and then I will search for the data. So I'm going to type time 2. So I've got a lot of time 2. So this is the one that I want, and then I'll click open. And so SPSS will open here, and then you can see the data that I've got already. So I'm going to click OK to have my data imported into the SPSS. So when you go to the data view, so you're going to see the coding that we did inside the Microsoft Excel. So you will see where we have strongly agree, strongly disagree. So you see all of them here. Okay, but we need to instruct the SPSS to understand what we want to do. And how do we do that? So I need you to pay attention at this point. In the variable view, this is where you have the information regarding your data here. For example, you can see the label, okay? My lecturers helped me identify my strength. My lecturer helped me XYZ, all those information. The same thing that you've got on the label, you also have it on the name. Okay, so here I'm going to remove the country of origin. If you come to the country of origin, this is where you have Zambia, and also I don't need that because I don't want to test anything about country, so I've knocked it out. Anyone you don't want, you can simply highlight on it, like you just click on it and then right click, and then you see clear, so you can remove that if you want to do that. Now, the next thing I need to do is the age range. So remember that SPSS doesn't allow you to keep under the name. SPSS doesn't allow you to add space, so you cannot add space here. If you, for example, watch, if I remove my mouse, it's not going to happen. So it's going to give a warning and tell you that it's an illegal character, okay? Because under the name, you can't leave a space. All right, if I want to leave a space here, I will say underscore, so that's going to allow it to stay, right? But under the label, you can have your space. For example, you can see age range. So for example, these ones from here, they are not part of this research, so I can hold down my mouse and then drag it down, and then right click, and then click on remove clear, so they will be out because they are not part of the data that we have. It's because I imported them from the Excel sheet, so a couple of other things join, so you can always delete the part that you don't want. Now let me take you back to this questionnaire, so you can see that the self-exploration variable has 6 item statements. So in the SPSS, because this is where the work now begins. So I've got the age under the age, so I don't need the label, so I'm going to knock the label out. If you have your label in the way you have everything here, look at that messes up. It will mess up the SPSS, and it makes it become so clumsy for you. The best thing is to first insert another variable. How do you insert? So I will right click and say insert a variable. So here I'm going to call this the first variable. Remember, we've got self-exploration, so I'm going to call this self-exploration. So I will call it self_exploration. So this is my variable here. And then remember that we've got 6 items, 1, 2, 3, and up to 6. So in my SPSS, I will love to call this self 1. Okay, so that makes it a little bit better and cleaner. And I will call this self 2. I'll call this self 3. This is going to be self 4. Remember, you already know it's your self-exploratory or self-exploration support. This is going to be self 5, and this is going to be self 6. All right. Now this represents the item statement number 1 to 6 for self-exploration. Now look at that. That is item statement number 1 to 6, self-exploration. Okay. Then the next thing I'll need to do is that I like to also create a space so that I can also remember where the second item statement began or started. Then I will right click, insert variable. Then the next one is you go to your item statement, is informational support. Then I'm going to call this informational underscore support. Okay, so I will call this info 1, remember, info 2, that is for item statement number 2, that is item statement number 2. The next one, item statement number 3, that's going to be info number 3. Okay, that is info 3. The other one is info 4, informational support number 4. The next one is informational support number 5. Okay, so you've got under the variable view is gradually looking pretty clean and clear. All right, now these are your variable labels, because you already have, sometimes for me I love to clean it up, so it makes my work, it makes my SPSS look pretty clean and clear. All right, then under the value, this is where I'm going to tell SPSS what I have done. Remember that in the Excel that we've got, we've got our gender: 1 represented female, 2 for male. So when I come to the SPSS, I'm going to have, for gender, I'm going to have 1, and I will tell SPSS that this one is what? Female, and I will add it. 2, I will tell SPSS that this is what? Male, and I will do what? Add it, and I will click OK. So that is here. Under the self-exploration, remember, this is just a variable, no data has been coded here. So, but this is where we've got the item statement number 1, 2 to 6 for self-exploration. Remember, don't forget. So we are going to tell SPSS that 5, remember when we came here, we coded number 5 here, strongly agree. This was strongly, this was agree. This one strongly agree. Then we've got 3 to mean neutral. Remember, we have 2 here, 2 means disagree, and then we have 1 here to mean strongly disagree. So keep that in mind. So 5 here is going to be strongly agree. Remember, when your SPSS allows you to name this however you want it. I will say 4 is agree. I'm going to add 3 is neutral. Remember, I'm going to add it. 2 is disagree. Sorry, disagree. I'm going to add. Then I have 1 to mean strongly disagree. Okay, so I will add, and then I'll click OK. So I'm going to copy this. Okay, and then I'll paste, Control C and then Control V, and then I'll paste all of them here, all of them here. You can see they'll all be here. Then remember that at this point, informational support, there is no data coded at this point. There's no data here. It's just a variable to demarcate these from these other ones. So in that case, I'm only going to paste here. I will paste, and then I will paste. So my data is now complete. Okay, for the 2 variables that I've got. Now if I go to the data view, you can see that it's now looking good. It's not really looking bad again. Now if I turn on this, so you can see everything that I've coded exactly the way they appear, right? That they're looking good. So you can see, if I toggle between these, you can see that these, and this. So that gives you an idea what you have done and whether you've done that correctly. So I've got 45 respondents. And what is the role of demarcating them? So the role of demarcating them is just to ensure that you do not get confused when you want to analyze between this and the other one that you've got by the side. Okay, so this is how you are going to code your data for all the variables that are in your research. This is how you keep on coding your data. And then when you are done coding your data, the next thing is to click save. This is your save, and then you can save whatever you want. You can save with anything. I can say tutorial, and then you save it wherever you want to save, and then begin to run your data analysis, the analysis of your choice. So whether you want to run correlational analysis, descriptive statistics, or regression analysis, or whatever, t-test, whatever you want to run, you can now begin to conduct your analysis at this stage. I hope you find this video helpful. Thank you so much.